So it seems like lately all I've been doing are top 10 videos, and I apologise for that. So I'm here to give you yet again another top 10 video. So hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now then, before we get started, there are a couple things which I need to say. Number one, lighting. Again, the lighting is not great here today. That's mainly because it's getting on in the evening now. The sun is like right above my window, it's shining in, and if I put the blinds up, I look like a ghost. I'm glowing almost, so I had to pull the blinds down. It's giving it a bit of a yellow look, but oh well, it's better than not seeing the album covers that I'm going to hold up. And so anyway, I thought this lighting would be better. And second off, here we are with my top 10 album opening tracks. However, before people start saying, well, where's this album, where's this album, where's this album? Number one, I have limited this to one album per artist. So for example, you can expect to see at least one Zeppelin record in here. And really, I could have filled this list up with about 3 or 4 Zeppelin albums, because they seem to have amazing opening tracks. So I have limited it to one album per artist. Also, this is just my opinion, of course. These are just 10 opening tracks which I love, 10 opening tracks which I feel do a fantastic job opening up these fantastic albums. But of course, I welcome all of your guys' comments and all of your guys' opinions in the comments below, and it'd be really interesting to hear what you guys think of your favourite opening tracks. So anyway, I have kind of ranked these from least to best. However, again, this order is not set in stone. This is just how I feel right now. I've basically taken 10 album opening tracks which I love, ranked them from whichever one excites me the least to the one which excites me the most. However, the one which is coming in last place is still a fantastic opening track. So these are all fantastic opening tracks, I feel. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So coming in at number 10. A lot of people, I think, would agree with me on this one when it comes to this band. Of course, there is another opening track from one of their other albums, Let It Bleed, which is considered a great opening track as well. However, for me, when it comes to this band, I prefer this track as an opener. And that is Brown Sugar from the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers. Now, in the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers is a fantastic album. It really is, in my opinion, their classic album. It's a great rocking album. This one, back-to-back with Beggar's Banquet, sound fantastic. And this album delivers a fantastic opening track. It gives us Brown Sugar, which a lot of us know, a lot of us enjoy. It's a classic rocking track, and it really starts off this album well. While I love this album, and I think this album is incredible, the album has a couple weak spots on it, a couple weaker songs, which is why I feel Brown Sugar does a fantastic job of opening up this album and just pulling us in to listen to it, because it is a fantastic album, fantastic record. The opening track really could be the best track on here, so it is just, it does its job fantastically. Bring my chair up a bit. So yeah, also if you guys are wondering what this is on the album cover, it's because there's an actual zipper here for the flies, and put a bit of cotton wool there so it doesn't damage any records which it's leaning up against. In case any of you are wondering why he's got white pubic hair coming through his jeans. He hasn't, it's cotton wool. So that is number 10. Coming in at number 9, I kind of was thinking in my head, I have to include this record, because this record is in my top 10 albums of all time. I love this album, it's fantastic. And while the opening track is not the best track, it does start off this album incredibly well. And from the word go, you know you're going to have a brilliant time with this record. That is Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. And of course the opening track is Love's in Need of Some Love Today. It's a fantastic opening track, and it starts off this album so unbelievably well. It is just incredible. As soon as it starts off, you're tapping your foot, the tune's in your head, it's brilliant. Stevie is on top notch, his vocals are incredible. And you just know you're going to have a fantastic time with this album. And you do. This album has so many great tracks on. The second track up, Have a Talk with God. Sorry, stuttering there. It is fantastic. Sir Duke, I Wish, Summer Soft, Isn't She Lovely, of course, Black Man, As Another Star, Saturn, you know, just incredible songs throughout this album. The whole album is generally perfect, really. This is one of those albums which would definitely get in the 9 section on my album reviews. But yeah, the opening track starts us off so well. It generally just is an incredible song, and starting us off with an incredible album. So yeah, Stevie Wonder, Songs in a Key of Life, had to make an appearance on this list. So next one up, we've had two classic 70s albums. Now we're going to go for a classic 80s album. So this is quite interesting because I love this band, but I don't really talk about them too much on my channel. But I cannot deny how cool this opening track is. And that is Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. This is a great classic 80s record. This is one of those 80s albums which I love. Because, you know, I've just reviewed Phil Collins' No Jacket Required. Problems I have with that, it's very simple, it's very plain, it's very blah. It's still a good album. Don't want to sound negative. Link in the description to the review of it if you want to see me go over it in detail. However, this is the 80s music which I like. Has more depth, has more character to it, has more experimentation to it, and a lot more thought has gone into it. It's not as simple as it sounds. And really, The Hurting, their debut, their album prior to this, you really get more of that. You know, it sounds like a bit of a simple 80s album. It's got that 80s sound, but really it just has so much more depth and meaning to it. And as does this album, it's great. However, the opening track, Shout, is just incredible. No, it's not a cover of Lulu's Shout, for some of you who might be thinking that. I know some people are, because I've talked to some people about this album before, and some people always go, Tears for Fears covered Lulu? Anyway, so yeah, this is a fantastic opening track. It actually starts this album off so well. The blending of the vocals on this is just fantastic. The structure to the song is just incredible, and really just opens up this album brilliantly, in fact. And it's like, you know, The Hurting was so good. It's like, can Tears for Fears do something as good as The Hurting again? Soon as we get the first track, it's like, yes, they can. It's like, fantastic time with that album. Okay, next album up. This is the one where I think a lot of people are going to be like, really? You picked that one? And I have a lot of sentimental feelings towards this one. Now, this artist, Bob Dylan, he seems to work magic with opening tracks. You know, we got Blowing in the Wind, Like a Rolling Stone on Highway 61 Revisited, of course. And while I love them early Dylan albums, I think they are just pieces of art. They are fantastic, politically and just imaginatively, and just in general, they're just fun to listen to. My favourite opening track from Dylan is actually going to come from one of his 70s albums, and I'll have to explain why, because I know a lot of you are going, that's not a better opening track than Like a Rolling Stone, and really I tend to agree, but I'll explain why I picked this one over it as soon as I tell you what song it actually is, and that is Hurricane from Desire. Now, the reason I picked Hurricane, you know, it's an 8-minute long track, it's very long, it has some of the longest lyrics to it, but the reason I picked this song as my favourite opening track from Dylan, generally because of the depth to it, you know, how much went into this song. The lyrics are just fantastic. And you guys know me, I love Dylan, but I am not the biggest fan of his vocals. I like to listen to Dylan for the lyrics and the meaning behind the lyrics. However, I think his vocals are really good on this track. I think they work so well with the lyrics. The song has so much structure to it. It's a bit of a creative song, and the album in general for Dylan, instrumentally, you know, it's he has fantastic violin work going on throughout the song. The song is based on a true story. It's incredible how Dylan kind of made that story his own on this record, and yeah, it actually works so well. And I get it, you know, Blowing in the Wind, Like a Rolling Stone, probably are better opening tracks, but for me, I've always had a real good connection with this song, and for me it wouldn't seem right not to put this one as my favourite opening track from Dylan. So I'm going to go with this one, Desire, Hurricane. Next one up, again, there was 2 albums from this guy, which I really wanted to include. As I say, I did limit it to 1 album per artist. I so nearly picked Ziggy Stardust and Spiders from Mars for this guy. because Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, as I say, probably would have made the list if I hadn't limited it to one album per artist. Because that album just sets up the tone in that album and generally the story to that album so well. However, I picked this song because this is a fun, energetic, catchy song which everyone knows, and the whole album is like that. Again, link in the description to my full album review of this one, because I have reviewed this album in full. And of course, that is Hunky Dory by Mr. David Bowie. Yeah, Changes, incredible track, just incredible. Everyone knows it, everyone loves it. It just gives us this nice, fun, warm feeling to an album, which we kind of needed from Bowie, I think. And, you know, this whole album is just fantastic with Oh You Pretty Things. We got Life on Mars. Kooks is great. Queen Bitch. Saying that song sometimes makes me laugh, but I actually adore that song. I think it's brilliant. Always reminds me of those Wes Anderson films, because I think they've played it in a couple of his films. But yeah, the Changes. You know, this one at Ziggy Stardust, it was so hard to choose. And I know a lot of you, again, would be going, should have gone with Ziggy. And I probably should have, really. But again, yeah, I went with this one. Okay, so what are we in? 5 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, coming in at number 5. It's a song from really one of the first supergroups, and that is Cream. And it is from Wheels of Fire, and it is White Room. Again, I was debating here, do I do White Room or do I do Strange Brew from Disraeli Gears? You know, both fantastic songs, both fantastic albums. I went with this one because generally I prefer White Room over Strange Brew as a song. I love the vocals from Jack Bruce on here, just sound incredible, and how Eric Clapton would come in during the chorus to back him up, and it just sounds fantastic. The song has a great structure to it again. Again, you know, when you listen to Cream, you know you're going to get fantastic drumming work because they have one of the best drummers ever. We know we're going to get fantastic bass work because they have one of the best bassists of all time. And we know we're going to get great guitar work because they have one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Supergroup, fantastic. Their albums, all of them, really pretty genius. I would highly recommend the vinyl box set of theirs because it's just incredible. But yeah, I mean, this album is fantastic. You know, you get Sitting on Top of the World, Politician, sorry. I nearly said Political Man. That's a line from the song, not the title. So, you know, it is just fantastic. And then, of course, you get a bonus live vinyl with this one as well, where you get Crossroads. I mean, what more could you want? One of the best songs ever there, in my opinion. But yeah, White Room is fantastic. Fantastic opening song. So yeah, that one made it. Top four. Coming in next. Again, there was another song by this guy who I was also thinking of including, but again, limited myself to one album per artist. Nearly did Band on the Run by Mr. Sir Paul McCartney. So yeah, I know a lot of you are going to be thinking, oh, including a Paul one. Which one could it be? Because generally, I don't think Paul has the greatest opening tracks, especially in his early career. Because I mean, if you look at it, Lovely Linda, good opening track, but what, it's 30 seconds long. Too Many People's pretty good, I'll give him that one. And then what we got Mumbo on Wildlife. Big Bum Bed on Red Rose Speedway. I like the song, but not the best opener, and definitely better other tracks on the album, which I think are much better. Band on the Run, which is pretty good. And then we get this one, Venus and Mars. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of cheating. It really is, because the opening track is really a minute long. And it's very short, and it's very plain, and it's very average. However, it flows into the second track, because the songs are connected. And it is incredible how we get that transition from the opening track, Venus and Mars, into the second track, Rock Show. And Rock Show is what it says. It is a rock show. It is, you put the record on, you feel like you're there, you feel like you're at a concert. This song was made to be performed live, as it was on the Wings Over America live album. It's just fantastic. They rock it up. It's a light show. You have a lot of fun with it. And it opens this album so brilliantly. The songs which follow it are actually fantastic, but they almost feel disappointing because we've had such an incredible opening track. The opening track, they've thrown everything at you. You know, Paul's just incredible. His bass work's incredible. Linda has fantastic backing vocals. Denny Lane sounds amazing on it. Jimmy's brilliant. You know, as I say, Venus and Mars itself is a bit... The track itself, it's just very average. It's very, you know, it's there to do what it does. It's there to build us up for a rock show, and it does its purpose. And when we get to rock show, as I say, it is just incredible. Incredible. So yeah, coming in at number 4, Venus and Mars. Okay, number two. As I say, I wanted to include quite a few albums from this band, but it was like, pick your favourite, just include the one. Let's not fill it up with Zeppelin. And I so nearly went with Zeppelin 3 for Immigration Song. So nearly went there. But I went with Led Zeppelin 2 with Whole Lot of Love. And the reason I've done this is because, number one, I prefer the album Led Zeppelin 2 to Led Zeppelin 3. While they're both fantastic albums, they're both very high, would be very high ranked on my ranking board. I'd say Zeppelin 2 is a teeny bit better for me. And the song Whole Lot of Love, Immigration Song, love them both. Again, really similar if I was to, you know, rank them. However, Whole Lot of Love would probably just get it. So it's like, well, that makes perfect sense. It's like, this song is incredible. It's fantastic. It's rocking. It has some slow pauses in the middle to kind of give the listeners a bit of time to relax. It's like, oh, that was amazing. And all of a sudden, it gets going again for the end. And, you know, the song... Fantastic structure, brilliant guitar work from Jimmy Page. Robert Plant, of course, sounds incredible on it. Whole Lot of Love, Led Zeppelin had to make the list. Okay, two left. Coming in at number 2 is going to be, again, wanting to pick a few other albums from this band. Limited myself to one, which I thought was very smart, because I'm just going to say it. Abbey Road would come together. And the White Album with Back in the USSR so easily could have made this list. But I went with Sgt. Pepper for the opening track, of course, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which then also flows into With a Little Help from My Friends. So again, kind of like Venus and Mars, you know, back-to-back songs here. However, Venus and Mars, as I say, Venus and Mars was really building up for the rock show. This time, Sgt. Pepper you can take as a standalone track, but it does flow into With a Little Help from My Friends. So I kind of like to count that as one, you know, one big, fantastic, epic song. And the reason I picked this over Abbey Road and the White Album, because I love Come Together and Back in the USSR. I think them two tracks are just incredible. Definitely 10 out of 10s to them two tracks. And, of course, it would be a 10 out of 10 Sgt. Pepper as a song. But the reason I picked this over it is because, you know, the Sgt. Pepper, this is what the album was. It was meant to be like a show. This is them opening the show up. It really just feels like a fantastic opening track. It sets the album off well. And then, of course, we go straight into With a Little Help from My Friends, which, it's a classic. And then, as I say, the rest of the album, you got Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which is one of the all-time greats. What else have we got on here? We've got She's Leaving Home, which is just beautiful. I really like Within You Without You. Fantastic Indian song from George there. Good Morning, very creative. And then we get A Day in the Life Reprise, which is basically just the closing one. It's like, we hope you've enjoyed the show, blah, 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 goodbye. But then we get A Day in the Life, sneakily put on after the reprise for Sgt. Pepper, which is one of the all-time greats again. So yeah, Sgt. Pepper had to make the list. Okay, so then, coming in at number 1. Now then, my number 1 opening track of all time. Might be a little bit biased about this one because I saw this performed live. And the artist opened the concert live with this track. And it was made to be an opening track. It was. It's like, it really is, in my opinion, the best opening track ever. Electric Light Orchestra is a New World record. And the track is, of course, Tightrope. Fantastic. You know, it almost feels like a film opening. You know, you get this really dark film with it. Really dark feel with it, sorry. And also you hear the violin start to kick in. They start slowly, you know, violining away. And all of a sudden they start to get faster. And you get, and all of a sudden the guitars kick in. And Jeff comes along, he's singing. And it just opens up the album so well. This track was made to open up concerts and gigs. You know, when Jeff was making this, I'm certain when he was making this record, he's like, Tightrope, that's going to be the opening track. You couldn't have this song halfway through the album. It just felt a bit weird. It had to open up the album. I'm certain that Jeff knew that when he was making this. And yeah, he's now opening up concerts with it on his latest tour. Of course, promoting the album Alone in the Universe. It sounds incredible. This song is fantastic. My favourite opening track. Again, it was hard to pick for ELO because I love the instrumental Fire on High for face value, which I wanted to put as my number one. Then, of course, same thing for Out the Blue. Wanted to put Out the Blue there, and then Discovery. It's like, oh, Jeff is just so good at opening tracks. And then, of course, for his actual new album, Alone in the Universe, the title track is also a great, When I Was a Boy, sorry, is also a great opening track for that album. So, Jeff just knows how to do great openers, but this is the best one, I think. This is just incredible. So anyway, that is it. Those are my top 10 album opening tracks. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, of course. Let me know of your lists in the comments below. Let me know which ones you think I should have included, which I didn't. But anyway, that is it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please hit the subscribe button, like the video and leave a message. And I'll see you guys next time for another video. Changes.